Welcome to the Golden Quarter Show, a 15-minute podcast on all things investment migration, corporate funds, tax, and private wealth. My name is Lorena Jimenez, founder and director of Civitas Post. CP offers content, marketing, and business development solutions for firms in the investment migration, tax, and wealth spheres. In each episode, we'll be embarking on a journey with an industry leader to unravel the latest developments impacting high net worth individuals, their businesses, and their wealth. Remember to subscribe, share, and join in on the conversation. Before we dive into the details of your recent launch, tell me a little bit about you. If somebody doesn't know you, give us just a little bit of insight on who you are and what it is you're doing.
My name is Tom Wong. I'm an American living in Bangkok, Thailand, and I've been here for the past 7+ years. So a true expat, working out here. And currently I'm in the immigration space. So I work for a firm called Friedland Trelcat Bonnici, and we specialize in various types of law. Myself, I'm working in the immigration space, so helping clients achieve second citizenship, second residence, temporary residence, permanent residence, generally through investment-based opportunities. I started out working in private banking in the US for JP Morgan. And so through a roundabout way, made it over here across the other pond, all the way to Bangkok, and have been really enjoying the expat life. And so I'm really happy to help clients find their way to do the same.
Yeah, that's really good. And why Bangkok? What was the big lure to Bangkok?
It actually wasn't on purpose. I always saw myself living abroad, studied international business and economics in the States, and always wanted to live outside the country. And I always thought it would be Mexico City. But through a bunch of different roundabout decisions and accidents, came out here actually to start working in real estate. But once I came here, the real estate job didn't really go as planned. But I fell in love with Asia. My father's from Hong Kong, so really felt a pull, I guess you could say, to
Yeah.
being in the region. But Bangkok definitely holds a special place in my heart here. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful, thriving city. So I can see why you're enjoying the life over there at the minute. By the time this goes live, you would have already launched Friedland Trelcat Bonnici. So perhaps take us through the journey that took you there, from when the seeds of this were planted and how we are where we are today with the law firm.
sure. Well, I can't take any credit for how it began. My job is going to be to see how we end up. But the beginning started with Matthew Bonnici
Yeah.
and Bastien Trelcat, both French citizens, and they first met in 1999 in Aix-en-Provence Law School, and they were pursuing their Magister in Business Law program. So they were both jointly awarded in 2002 a national prize from PricewaterhouseCoopers called the Best Tax and Business Law Young Professionals Award. That was chaired by Louis Vuitton's Pierre Godet, so kind of
Oh,
a prestigious award. After Aix-en-Provence Law School, they both moved out to Hong Kong, where they got a Master of Laws at City University in Hong Kong. And then from there, they bounced back to France and began working in Paris on Avenue Friedland. So that's where the Friedland comes into play.
got it.
Avenue Friedland, it's a prestigious part of the city where a lot of the top law firms globally and French law firms are operating. So they both cut their teeth there and then bounced back out to Asia. So they're going back and forth quite a bit,
Yeah.
but staying in touch the whole time. After settling in Asia, they both started working for different prestigious law firms in China and Thailand, doing cross-border M&A deals with Europe and Asia. And then, so fast forward, 27 years after meeting,
Yeah.
and they decided to finally unite again as Friedland Trelcat Bonnici. So that's kind of where I start with the business, but it's been a long time coming. Matthew.
Our guest today is Tom Wong, who spent over 10 years working in the investment and financial services industry. He's helped numerous high net worth individuals and their families expand their citizenship and residency options around the world, offering them security, privacy, estate planning, and lifestyle benefits. Tom steers the Asian and North American business development plan for Friedland Trelcat Bonnici, a law firm with a strong expertise in Asia, serving an extremely diversified pool of corporate and private clients in Asia, Europe, the Middle East, and America.
About your role, you said you're going to be looking at taking things forward. So tell us a bit about what you're looking to do here.
Sure. So I've been working with Bastian for several years, based out of Bangkok on the immigration side. And when he approached and asked if I would be interested in joining this new firm, he also asked, he said, look, we want to expand quite a bit. And he said, as an American, would you be interested in working with our American or US operation and running that? Of course, I said yes. And while I don't necessarily want to move back to the US right now, I'm happy to utilize all of my connections and my network from all the time that I spent in the States professionally, and using those connections to help meet new partners of ours, new clients. So I'll be running our US operation, which is based in Dallas, Texas, from Thailand for the time being while we build up our presence there.
Would you be looking at, spending half the year in Dallas? Are you going to?
Uh, Good question. Look, you never know what's going to happen. I keep my options open. If that's where the needs are, I would be, I would consider it for sure. I've got a lot of friends and family there. I love the food in the States. But again, as I mentioned, I am also enjoying my time here in Thailand. So it would be difficult to pull myself away with a lot of things grounding me here. But wherever. I am quite flexible, so wherever the needs are, I would be open to it. But it's these are conversations that I have with a lot of my clients as well. People that are looking for a second citizenship or residence, and they're looking at it for different reasons. Some can't wait to leave for any number of reasons. Some are just looking for a backup plan and think, if I want to, maybe I will take advantage of it. So, but for me, with the business, since we're just starting out, we're kind of drinking water from a fire hose. So you never know where the needs are going to pop up, and how things are going to shape up in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years time.
On that point, so you're going to the US, you want to be there as the point of contact with your existing network that you used to have. Are you seeing demand come in from this network already? You've been speaking to them. What CBI, what residence by investment, what golden visas are they mostly asking you about?
US is by far, as you're aware, I'm sure, through all of your conversations and your network, it is the strongest market for what we do in terms of outbound needs. That is, Americans looking for a backup plan or a second citizenship or residence. Now, once you look at that from a micro level, there's different reasons. Everyone has a different story in terms of what they're looking for, why they're looking for it. And that's a lot of the fun in what I do is hearing those different stories and meeting new people. But what we are finding is, first of all, yes, to answer your question, the demand is massive in the US. But people are looking for different things, right? So it's politically motivated, it's tax motivated, it's older clients looking for or planning for their retirement in 5 years' time, 10 years' time. People looking at education opportunities for their kids abroad. So we've got people that are saying, okay, well, I'm looking for a second passport because if anything, whatever, God forbid, the next pandemic comes, I don't want to be stuck. Maybe they weren't happy with the medical response from wherever they were living in the States, and they say, I want to go someplace where I can move around a bit more freely. So let me just get a backup passport. Right now, the easiest would be, a Caribbean passport. The Caribbean so close to the shores and southeastern part of the States. And the Caribbean passports are quite accessible in terms of a price standpoint and in terms of processing as well. And it's not far, right? So a lot of people visit the Caribbean region anyway for their vacations. We do have a lot of clients still looking at Europe from a resident standpoint, and from there, the Portuguese options are still the strongest from what we're finding. That the demand is the highest for Portuguese Golden Visa. The Portuguese highly qualified activity visa is getting a lot of traction. Business people that already have their own operations in the US that are interested in setting something else up through that HQA opportunity. The D7 passive income Portuguese visa is also something for retirees that have a steady, stable income. It's not a whole lot of money that you would need on an annual basis to qualify for that. So Portugal, from a resident standpoint in Europe, is popular. And then another one that we're seeing, especially since the new changes this year, is the New Zealand residence program, the Active Investor Plus, the AIP. It's they've had it for, I believe, a couple of years now, but they made some changes. There were a bunch of inefficiencies with that program, and they've revamped it. And now, for a lot of American clients, what we're seeing is, and I've got some family that have asked about it, family and friends that are saying, okay, I don't want something close. I want something as far away as possible
Get me out of
from the
here.
US. Yeah, and also the fact that New Zealand already has that, it's got a nice reputation as well
Yeah.
as being a very
You've
beautiful
got
place, a nice
English.
island. You've got English, exactly. That's a big draw. So yeah, there's a lot of people looking at that, and yeah, it's a bit more expensive than some of the other options. But for certain ultra high net worth clients, 5 or 10 million New Zealand dollar investment opportunity is something that they're willing and happy to do for themselves and or their family.
And are they looking at doing that? Is that more of a younger, is that families that are looking to move there with their children and take them there for education, or is it really just the retiree segment that are looking at it? Like where are you seeing more of the interest for the New Zealand program?
That one it kind of spans all over. Retirees, of course, in New Zealand's a great place to would be whenever I'm able to. I would love to look at New Zealand for
Yeah.
retirement, but for the some of the older clients that we have, they're looking at that. Some clients are looking at it from a safety standpoint.
Yeah.
The gun violence and all of that, without getting political, it's a lot of concern, for sure, in the US with a lot of our clients. And yeah, I mean, COVID, say what you want about it, but it really did a lot in our industry in terms of opening people's eyes to see what's possible. From an employer standpoint, they're seeing, hey, we can have our employees working from home, and efficiency doesn't go down the drain as a lot of people thought would happen. And we've got a lot of our clients that are saying, look, my employer's letting me work from, I can work from anywhere as long as I have an internet connection. So we've got a lot of uh, uh, digital nomads that are starting to inquire about New Zealand as well.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's a beautiful part of the world, so I can see why that's drawing a lot of demand on the Americans, though. So for a lot of other jurisdictions, I guess you'd be able to highlight that, there's the tax benefits of moving to XYZ jurisdiction if they go for this program. But with the US clients, how do you manage sort of they've got their FATCA obligations. How do you sort of navigate that when you're having those conversations with clients?
Well, firstly, we work with really good partners that handle the international tax part of the equation. So we focus on myself, with what I'm doing with Friedland Law, is focusing on the immigration piece. We focus on what we know that we do best, and where we can bring the most value. Now, we also understand, because we've been doing this for so long, that there's a lot of other pieces that come into play when you're looking at global immigration, even if you're not moving. If you're just staying planted in the US, for example, there's a lot of pieces that need to be put in place at the same time as your immigration journey. So, that is setting up bank accounts, buying real estate, setting up investments, relationships with investment advisors. Tax planning, of course, is a massive one. Of course, American clients are going to be paying taxes wherever they go, as long as they are American.
Yeah.
And from that standpoint, yeah, we work with some of the top tax advisors, international tax advisors, that can create a strategy to make the tax outlook for our clients set it up to be the most efficient. Nobody's skirting the law, but of course, there's smart ways to do things, and planning, especially when you have a lot of time on your hands, when you're not, you don't have necessarily, you don't have a gun to your head and you needed a passport or residence yesterday. For our clients that are coming to us and saying, look, here's my plan. In 5 years' time, I want to have this. How do I get here? That's when we can really work with a broader team to create the best, easiest strategy that is not too imposing on anyone's lifestyles. No one has to make big changes for that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I'm glad, I'm sure they appreciate the fact that they're supported, across the board with your partners as well. In terms of the US, though, regardless of a lot of people looking at, moving as far as possible. It's still a big demand. It's not like the EV5 is demand that there used to be booming goods. Yeah,
unconscionable, I would
right.
say.
But I think that is just I think it just illustrates how much of a lure the American dream had, and can I say still has. So, how are you seeing the demand from other jurisdictions for inbound into the US? What's your experience when you talk to clients?
Sure. Well, that of course is going to be intertwined with a political reality of what's going on. Yes, I would say the American dream is still alive for many people. I would also say that the American dream has certainly evolved from what it used to be. And the way to achieve it has evolved, of course, as things always do. But it's funny. These are, as an American living out here in Asia, that is definitely a conversation I have with a lot of clients, especially the ones that are looking at obtaining a U.S. green card and permanent residence and have goals of eventually becoming citizens. People are always asking me, okay, Tom, you're an American, you understand the EB-5 program, for example, if it's the EB-5 they're looking at. Why don't you want to live there? Why do you want to be in Thailand, for example?
Yeah.
And what I've learned is, it's just a matter of perspective. Yes, I always, as an American growing up in the States, I had a certain experience and I always had dreams of leaving. But there are certainly plenty of people in the world that, their number one goal is to get to the US as a land of opportunity, as a place for their kids to flourish, to be educated, to get a higher paying job once they graduate from university. Certainly dreams that people have. It's just a matter of perspective from how you grew up and the opportunities that you've been afforded. I work with Thai, right? We have Thai clients that are trying to get to the US and they say, look, I can't believe you want to be here in Thailand, but my history and how I grew up has led me here. We're all on our own journeys, and I totally understand why people are looking to get to the US. Now, all that being said, it's certainly been changed, certainly dreams since Trump was inaugurated. We've got a potentially a new card program, however that shakes up. We do, being in Thailand right now, we do work with a lot of Burmese clients, those from Myanmar that are looking to get into the US. That certainly has added, there have been wrenches thrown that way with potential bans on certain citizens, including Myanmar nationals. So, it's one of those things, and it's not just in the U.S. It's really in the industry. It's always changing, as you know. Every day you wake up, there could just be a new bit of news that affects your clients or affects a program closure or potential changes or a new one opening up. So you really have to stay on top of things and stay on your toes and be flexible. And what we tell clients, with the U.S. programs, with Portugal, for example, changes that have been happening there is you never know what's going to happen in 1 month's time, in 6 months' time, in a year's time. So if you're on the fence and you're always wanted to do it, just take advantage of it now because things could change. It could get harder. It could get easier.
Well, it could get more expensive usually.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the Caribbean programs, right? So change is inevitable. And certainly with the US, it has made things more difficult, but we've also seen more of a streamlining of processes and wait times. So, you take the good with the bad, you just roll with the punches, and we can just advise our clients on what the risks are and what the changes are and work with them that way.
And just wrapping up on demand and driver, it feels a lot more unstable in the last couple of years. Ever since COVID, it just feels like a wildfire out there. So are you seeing more drivers for demand being political now? Is that something that you're seeing as a motivating factor, or are there other factors that are coming into play?
From a US perspective or just in general?
Just globally, yeah, just generally, rather. This is more across the board.
Well, actually, as I asked you that, now that as I think about it, yeah, I think it's the American perspective and the American demand is not a whole lot different than the demand from all the other nations, right? So COVID, yeah, I agree. Since COVID, it seems like the world's turned upside down.
A
There's a
little.
lot of craziness and insanity, and we're connected and seeing and hearing all of it. But at the same time, um, countries around the world in various jurisdictions are responding to that. They're seeing that again, clients or people are able to work more. They can work remotely a lot easier. A lot of corporations and companies are giving that sort of leeway to their employees. And COVID also made people kind of realize what's important to them as well. That there's a lot of pain and suffering in the world, and we have one life to live. So if I can move to Dubai, or I can move to Thailand, or I can move to New Zealand, and there are these programs that allow that, and look, they're making things a lot more inviting, to try to coax and woo people to move in, then hey, maybe I can take a leap. A lot of people have been stuck working in an office for their whole life, and then COVID comes, they're working from home, and a lot of the companies open their doors back up to the offices, and people are saying, well,
Yeah, no,
actually,
thank you.
I don't, it's not for me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more flexibility, a lot more people that kind of changed or realigned their needs and what they want, and found out or realized, I need to be honest with myself, and I really value this sort of freedom, or I want this new experience for my kids, or me, as a single person. So everyone is starting to realize there's more and more out there. I mentioned Thailand, and being here, we're seeing so much demand because Thailand has they're providing more and more opportunities for long-term foreigners and expats that want to move into the country. So we're just seeing so many people from all over the world coming here, trying to take advantage of digital nomad visas or long-term retirement visas and that sort of thing.
Yeah, the
And
LTR, very interesting. For sure.
yeah, we've got a lot of clients coming from first world countries in UK or the US and Canada and Australia, saying, I've worked my whole life, and do I want to be stuck here and continue, or why not just take a leap and move out to Thailand and live from a beach bungalow and surf all day or whatever.
Yeah.
And to that I
After
say,
emails.
to them I say, you're preaching to the choir. Of course, I love, I'm a champion for long-term visas in Thailand, for sure.
Yeah.
I will sing its praises to all of our prospects, and people that I get in front of, especially in the US.
Yeah.
I'm happy to.
Yeah, that makes sense. So within the next year, what are your, headline goals that you want to achieve in a nutshell, for Friedland?
Well, to put it quite simply, I would say, as we're starting this new venture, and me for the US and North American market is, my goal is to build very strong relationships with our partners, as I mentioned, tax partners that we work with, wealth managers that we work with. Um, so building relationships with our partners and with clients and with our prospects, and meeting as many people as we can. And that sort of thing obviously takes time, right? No one's going to trust you from the get-go unless you're very lucky. So it's building and developing and fostering new relationships with new stakeholders in the industry. That is the goal for the first. Well, that'll be the goal the whole time, but that is probably, I would say, the most important goal that we need to achieve, or to meet in the first year.
Perfect. And where can we find you? Where can we reach out to you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
We are everywhere, but you can find us at friedland-law.com, FRIEDLAND law.com, and we're on LinkedIn. Our marketing team is working their hair's on fire right now, getting everything prepared.
I'm
So
sure exciting times,
we'll be
huh?
popping up. Yeah, so we'll be popping up on various platforms as well. But I would say you can find us on the website. They can reach us at info@friedland-law.com as well. And LinkedIn, we're active on there as well.
Really exciting. Looking forward to, seeing it evolve over the next few months, and definitely look forward to hearing back from you on how things are growing.
Thank you so much, Lorena. I appreciate the opportunity, and looking forward to catching up soon and have some news on the progress and the leaps and bounds that we're making. So
That's
thank
good.
you so much.
That's good.
That was Tom Wong of Friedland Trelcat Bonnici, a full-service law firm with expertise across investment migration, international law, and business. The Golden Quarter Show is a Civitas Post podcast covering all things wealth. Civitas Post is a marketing and media firm that connects the worlds of investment migration, international tax, and wealth. If you'd like to join in on the conversation, then please feel free to subscribe to The Golden Quarter Show, available wherever you hear your podcasts.